For me, there is no division between data and GIS. It is just different ways that we represent the world and try to make an understanding and meaning of it. My name is Margaret Spyker. I am a GIS analyst and data scientist with Xenity Corporation, and we are based in Golden, Colorado. GIS is Geographic Information Systems, or Geographic Information Science. It is about integrating layers of information and using those combinations and intersections to understand the story of what you're trying to represent. The data science part just kind of came along with the GIS. There's probably 3 different ways you could describe relationships for data. There's certainly the very hardline technical definition of joining one table to another through its related field. That relationship is specifically an entry in one column that's the same entry in another column that allows all the other fields in those tables to come together. So if I had a table that had your name and address and a table that had your name and your birthday, and I wanted to know what were the ages of all the people that lived in this area that I had the addresses for, I could join them on the names. And then I would have the addresses and the names. So quite simply, right, a relationship between data is just ways that you can tie it together. So the second relationship is how data sets can be similar to each other and not necessarily in a true key joining way. One of the foundations of statistics is that correlation is never causation, and so it's not that the data relationships are always 100% predictive of each other. I'm not saying that, but there are commonalities between data sets that allow them to, even if they're not directly joinable, still be worked together to tell you parts of the picture that you couldn't see with looking at them independently, such that you can look for correlations that'll help you with your further discovery. The third and least expected component about relationships with data is that it's very much a human thing. And so not only do we understand it as we're measuring humans, but we're also humans storing data and systems that are managed by humans, and how that all comes together at the end of the day results from us communicating and being better at working towards that common goal and not fighting over data or trying to, protect it or, letting it free. So the concept of the rational man, which is the foundation of every economic model, right? That every human exists as a rational, sentient being that makes decisions based on sound information that is input into their system and acts accordingly, is completely founded on the predicate of data being available. So not just that there's data there, but that the data is relevant to the inherent questions that we need to ask as humans. So data being democracy, right, is the true reason why we should all care about data being made publicly available. And even to the extent that our private data should be made available back to us. The saying, if there is no product, you're the product, right, is that data that's being collected about us, I would love to know what my patterns are and what my buying habits are, and I would love to know it in a way that is not being sold to me. I would just like the data, please. But I know I'm pretty far off from that because it's an expensive commodity. So we work on public data, which is data that's bought for by the people, by taxpayer dollars, and is provided for the people. A lot of people get the concept of data transparency, that we want to be able to see how our government is functioning, but it extends to the data that's collected about us. And so in that way, every one of us could be a citizen scientist if we all had access to that data. And maybe that concept of rational man, right, could actually be a real thing if we were able to get to or at least closer to the holy grail of having all of our public data be made available for us. We say, well, how are you using data in your business? And they say, we're not. And then you ask, well, how do you make decisions about when to be open? And they say, well, we pay attention to what's happening, we make our observations, and then, we just base our decisions on that. And it's well, even that is data, right? What you're doing, you're making the observation, even if it's not on a spreadsheet, you're still collecting that information and sorting it and categorizing it in your brain so that you can extract information. You are using data, even if you're not loading in the full unemployment record by county for the state. You're still using data. So I think that's a surprise to a lot of people, right? That the expectation is that data analysis and getting these big market assessments and are like essential in every business. And that's, if you're not doing that, then you're not working with data. But really, it comes in many flavors and many layers, you know. I would say probably the top 2 things that I would tell people to maximize data for their business or for their use. One is to spend the time to look for data. That's for sure part of it. But ultimately to the end point of giving data a chance and don't dismiss it at first glance, because there's a lot of hidden things out there. And the other is to let your life be kind of an experiment, or let your business be an experiment. So some of the best data that you can collect or use is data that you can collect. So seek out different types of data and think of ways that it could help your business, and then create your own science experiment out of your life or your business, and look for patterns in what you're doing.